Principles that will aid you build a better relationship, part one. In this conversation, we're going to redefine an alpha male. Why is there the need to redefine an alpha male? I say in our modern world where the paradigms have changed, the conception and perception of a lot of things have changed, and lifestyle generally has changed. It becomes very important for us to redefine certain concepts that guide our lives. And in the face of feminism today, I believe that most men do not really understand what it means to be an alpha male. That's why some people would define alpha male as that male, that dominant male who comes into an environment or who walks into a room and everybody automatically respects him, sees him as the leader, the boss, and all that. But the truth is, that is not what alpha male is. Alpha male is not about domination. Alpha male is not about you subjecting women to obey you willy nilly. Alpha male is not about, okay, yes, I'll say, let me start with what alpha male is not so we have a clearer picture of what it is. So, alpha male is not you commanding respect or autocratically making people do your bidding. Most importantly, alpha male is not about male dominance of women or male dominance of fellow male. Like you see some videos on social media talking about alpha male. They say you're that guy who comes into a room and everybody understands that you're a leader, everybody respects you. No. Now, alpha male is not about territory because if everybody in the room, in the meeting, wants to be an alpha male, then that meeting will never hold because everybody will fight each other because everybody will seek for respect from each other. So alpha male is not that territorial, hierarchical person who comes into a place and commands respect and wants everybody to respect him or wants everybody to do his bidding, especially his woman. Because male leadership is a leadership of function, not a leadership of autocracy. So the way that we can find peace in our relationship with our significant other is through cooperation and through leadership by efficiency. Now, what do I mean leadership by efficiency? I mean that a man is not supposed to command a woman or demand respect for a woman. A man is just supposed to be himself by blossoming what is inside of him, seeking to build his career, trying to become the best he can be. And when he does this, automatically a woman who understands her own role as an omega, because I call a woman that has walked into her power, a woman who understands her power and her responsibility, I call her the omega. So an omega woman will automatically fit into the life of an alpha male. Now, when I talk about leadership, I would like to use an illustration. Now, I'm this workaholic kind of person who, during the day, I go out to do my normal work. I massage, I do home service, so I move from place to place. Now, that's very tasking. But most times I come back home in the evening and I have to work on my blog. Sometimes that takes me a lot of time. Sometimes in a stretch of 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 month, I sleep 3 hours, 2 hours in the night. So basically, being an IT person and trying to meet up my deadlines, my schedules, because I'm this kind of person that if I tell you I'll be there by 2 o'clock, I'll be there by 2 o'clock. If I tell you I'll be there by 3, I'll be there by 3. If anything happens, I won't be there by 3. I'll pre-inform you like 30 minutes before to say I won't be there by exactly this time. Because I take timing very important. So I don't believe in this African man time thing. Now, this places a lot of pressure on me because sometimes I have to wake up 4:30, 5 o'clock. and I have to be at the place by 6 in the morning. So most times I don't pay attention to my clothing. My priority is I've worked in the night. I just need to put on something and get out of this house. So I have some clothes, but I don't even wear some clothes. Sometimes I just want to wear and go out. Now there was this time I had a friend, a lady friend. So when she came to my house one day, she said, "Look, you're not dressed the way you dress. You don't. It's okay, no problem." So she said, "You need to make some adjustments." Now, what I used to do was, whenever she's around, if I put on my clothes and I want to go out, I'll go stand in her front. She was okay, remove this one, wear this shoe. Because I had about 11 pairs of shoes there. She said, wear this one, wear this. She will make adjustments. Now, sometimes, because I had this habit of, if I want to, the clothes I'll wear tomorrow, because most times I iron almost all my clothes over the weekend. So the one I'll wear tomorrow, in most cases, I'll bring them out the day before, put them on my chair in the room. So I know that tomorrow I'm going to wear this clothes. Most times when I bring them out and I keep them, she'll be like, no, you will not wear this one. Go and wear this one. Now, for once, I have never argued with her. Because why? I understand that she is better at wearing clothes. Now, for me, I was good in colors. Like, I know how to mix colors that I feel that are okay. But when it comes to the actual clothing, I'm not good in it. So I respect her opinion that she is better in this department. So I never argued with her for once. And I obeyed her leadership because in that particular sphere, she was leading me. So when I talk about a man leading himself or being real to himself, doing the best he can do, and let the Omega woman fit into his life, I'm talking about a man being who you are and not trying to dominate anybody, not trying to make yourself feel superior to anybody, not trying to subject a woman to your will and decisions. When you do that, you are on the path of becoming an alpha. Because, like I said, an alpha is never this territorial people, this territorial person or dominant or strong iron man who dies under pressure and doesn't show a sign of it. He acts joku. That is not an alpha. For us to understand how we came to this point, I think it may be very necessary for us to look at how or the origin of the word alpha male came to be. Now, the word alpha male was got from scientists who were studying animals. And after studying the animals, they saw that like some animals are very territorial. Dogs, wolf, and if a lot of animals in general are very territorial. So they happen to call the leader of the animal the alpha. Now, but this is a very wrong idea because originally that was not what an alpha meant. We'll get to that as we're discussing. Fine. Now, first is that when you observe an animal and use your conclusions to judge human beings, you're very wrong. Because most of these animals that were studied in captivity. Now, an animal in captivity behaves differently from an animal in the wild. Yes, some experiments were done with the animal in the wild and the difference wasn't much. But now, another thing is when you're observing animals, you are observing them as an external being. You don't understand them. That's the truth. Because there are certain things they do that you would not know. Okay, I'll give us an illustration. When I was in secondary school, I remember one day our social studies teacher was teaching us something. He now said animals don't talk, that an animal may want, and he specifically used a dog, which spiked something in me. He said a dog can bark. He actually there are three dogs out there. He actually wants one dog to come to him, but he barks and the three dogs will come. So that animals don't have a language. Immediately, I told my friend that was sitting with me on my chair, I said, look, dogs have a language, animals have a language. Because my neighbor then, where we were staying, he had about 38 dogs. And I've seen that these dogs are like human beings. Foster will send his dogs on errand. Say, go and bring this shoe for me. These dogs will go to the room and bring the particular shoe that he asked for. Sometimes some of them will make mistake. He will say, no, it's not this one. Go and drop it. Bring another one. So within me, I was a kid then. This was in the 80s. And I was like, how can a human being send a dog on errand? He goes and brings the particular thing the person wants. Secondly, I found out that these dogs had respect for the first dog that came to that house. And he was their owner's favorite, Foster. Foster was my friend, a young boy like me. But the first dog that came to that house was Jesse. And Foster never joked with Jesse. And all the other dogs that came to that house respected Jesse like their chief. Even if two dogs are fighting, Jesse comes there, everybody behaves himself. So, on observation of this, I felt that this cannot be possible except these animals have a means of communication. So when he said that, I said, no, the animals talk. He saw I was talking in the class. So he said, you, Stanley, what are you saying? I said, animals talk. He looked at me and he said, no, animals don't talk. He punished me for talking while he was talking, and not just for talking, for teaching something contrary to him. Now, but he was coming from this perspective of animals have been studied. Who studied them? And he felt he was right. But I know that I am right. So, when you study animals, your perception or your perspective may be wrong. Okay, I'll give another illustration. There was a video I saw sometime on social media where a man was talking about some team of scientists who went to study, I think, an antelope or thereabout, one of these animals in the wild. So the first team of scientists who went to study these animals were men. And what they observed was that when these animals went to a place to eat, while they are eating, after a while, one of them springs into a direction and everybody follows him. So the conclusion was that this particular antelope was the alpha male or something. Right? He was the leader who decided where everybody went. Now this observation was done for months because they had to re-observe and make sure that their theories or conclusions were right. But it didn't go down well with the team of scientists back home because when they went home and reported their results and all that. So a second team of scientists went to restudy these animals. These were mainly females, these were women. So while studying the animals, they found out that when the antelopes came to somewhere to eat, there were a few specific antelopes. Maybe these were considered the elders or the most experienced or the ones that were battle ready, who could face any battle if there is an attack. Now, most of them will be looking in different directions, searching for the next point to move to. But gradually, they all begin to narrow their gaze into a direction. Now, that particular chief or that particular alpha male or that particular leader whom has been designated a leader, he doesn't look in any direction. He only studies those ones looking in different directions. But the moment a greater percentage of them begins to look in a direction, he will spring into that direction. And the moment he springs away, everybody follows him. So the observation was different. The act was the same, but the observation was different. The second observation was more accurate. Now, this antelope that sprang into action was not he did not decide it. I'll say he was more of the spokesman for the oracle. He has seen where a lot of them are looking at, so he feels that, oh, this is the direction we should move. So off he goes. So your observations for animals cannot be used as a criteria for judging humans, because we have different senses that they don't have. We have a better understanding of our environment. Now let's go back to the roots of the word alpha. The word alpha, as is used from ancient time, it came from a Phoenician. I don't know if it's called Phoenician. Yeah, the ancient people, the ancient Phoenicians who were traders and all that. The word came from them, Aleph. And I think that word also found its way to Egypt. It found its way to Greek. And it found its way to the ancient Hebrew language. Because all these guys all have their first letter, Aleph, as Aleph. Aleph is what we call A today. That's A. So, they called God Alpha. That's why, like in the Bible, they go. Sorry, I'm not trying to insult anybody's religious sensitivity. I'm a Christian, so I'm using the stories from the Bible. I believe in other religions and in other conversations, God is still seen as the source. So that's why the Bible calls God the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Now, because they understood that God is the source, the beginning, the origin of everything. God is the final ancestor, the point one ancestor that brought about human existence or creation in general. So, if we have to relate, that's what, like in the Bible, when God is presented in the male gender, he, it is not as in a man. That is like father, no. It is this same word Aleph that found its way. That's the etymological or semantic source word that gave birth to the word father. So, a man who's an alpha is a father. And what is one of the qualities of a father? Care, understanding. And a father sees beyond where a child doesn't see. In my traditional Nigerian proverbs, or I don't know if it's a wise quote all over the world, it is said that an adult sitting down, an adult lying down will see what a child standing cannot see. This tells that a father or an advanced person is more experienced, understands life from different perspectives than somebody. The greatest illustration to this our Gen Z generation that believes they know more than everybody, and yet they know nothing, and are behaving like fishes that have seen new waters. An alpha, a father, is someone who cares, who understands, who has had a wealth of experience. And hence, from this wealth comes care. Carrying a child. Sometimes a child will be misbehaving. You know how to, put him online and take him to where he's going. So, a father or the alpha is someone who cares. Most importantly, an alpha in our modern day world, one of the redefinitions of an alpha is that an alpha should know the indispensable role of his woman in his life. Why? Because it is said that when a man and a woman come together, they become one. Because men work with the left side of the brain, women work with the right side of the brain. And psychology has made us to understand that every man is 70% male and 30% female. Every woman is 70% female and 30% male. So the two genders complement each other, and the two genders should never be at war. But what we have today in our modern world is that the two genders are fighting. Men believe they are superior to women. Some women believe they are equal to men. Some women believe they are superior to men. Now, this shows that we're still a very immature species. Because if we've lived with each other for millions of years, and yet we don't even know it or understand each other, it shows that we have a long way to go. Now, very importantly, in the redefinition of an alpha male, a man is not superior to a woman, and a man is not equal to a woman. A woman is not superior to a man, and a woman is not inferior to a man, and a woman is not equal to a man. Comparing the role of a woman and a man is like comparing your eyes and your mouth, which is more important. Yes, your eyes can see, but if the mouth says I will not open to eat anything, what will happen to you? You will die. So, or comparing your mouth to your hand. So there are a lot of benefits to working together as a team. Now, what I suggest, or what I'm saying, or what I think should happen in this modern era is that the men and the women need to come together and work as a team. And this togetherness will start with the men, because the men are the fathers. You're the alpha. And everything that happens in your life starts with you. You don't expect the woman to take the initiative. A woman is erratic. She's emotional. She can say something today and tomorrow she says another thing. And not just that she's saying another thing, she will even blame you for not understanding that her feelings have changed. And now she needs to apply this new principle. Let me paint a picture. You can agree with the woman that, okay, we will not do this, we will do this, we will do this. We have boundaries, we have rules and regulations. Today she will agree, especially if she just wants to come into your life. Maybe she wants you to marry her. Then after marriage or a few years down the line, she changes. Or it could even be in a matter of weeks. What you guys agreed on, her feelings have changed. And she'll be like, not only that, she has transgressed what you people agreed or disregarded what you people agreed. She will now feel that you are at fault for not understanding that my feelings have changed and now I have to act another way. So you don't expect a woman to come and reorganize society or reorganize life for you. No, we are the men and we are the fathers. We are the people in charge of piloting the affairs. Because a man is more logical, a man is more principled than a woman. Women don't live by principles. Women live by feelings and their emotions. If he runs high, they behave like that. He runs low, they behave like that. So it takes a man to regulate such. So another important point or another important aspect of redefinition of male alpha male today is that an alpha male is someone who has grown to become a matured man and is creating peace, harmony, wisdom, and understanding in his environment and leads his woman by care, understanding, and love, not by domination, tyranny, and behaving the way he wants or demanding respect from a woman. As a man, you don't need to demand respect from a woman. Just be yourself. If a woman does not respect you for who you are, then she doesn't belong in your life. It's a very simple thing. If a woman does not respect you or respect your boundaries and your principles, then she doesn't belong in your life and you shouldn't be with such women. There are women out there who will respect you. So, the alpha male of today has a lot of work to do, and that work is in rebuilding the society, because this definition of alpha male as the territorial King Kong, if I may, yes, I'll use that word, King Kong. The territorial King Kong has divided the gender so much that you now have autocratic men who have immature men who don't even understand what it means to be a man, men who are so weak that their feelings, emotions, and desires control their life. You see such men demanding respect from a woman. I mean, who are you? He who goes to equity must do so with a clean hand. And you don't even have the moral stand, the moral dignity to demand respect from a woman, but you're demanding it. A pot calling kettle black when you are as black as a kettle, you are calling the kettle black. So for a man, you just need to be yourself. You don't need to demand respect from a woman. So if you don't need to demand respect from a woman, then the work of rebuilding society lies in our hands, because today the divide between men and women has got to an extent where most women are like, I'm not going to marry. Most men are like, I'm not going to marry. I've seen some videos on social media where people are saying they're going to train their children to be without the other gender, the opposite gender. So we're actually in a gender crisis era, where you see even the women who don't even know what gender is or how to be a woman, who lack any integrity as a woman, coming to say, why should I respect a man? Why should I do this? Why should I? So we have a role to play. We have a very important responsibility to restructure society and bring it to the path where it's supposed to be, via being alpha males. Remember, like I said, an alpha male is not this domineering King Kong. An alpha male is somebody who creates harmony, peace, understanding, wisdom, love, care where he is. And his woman, his wife, his girl, and all the females around him do not fear him. Rather, they respect him for who he is, for his integrity. They respect him for the man that he is, for the fact that he can stick to his principles. That's what makes an alpha. So, if you're one of those men who believe that you can behave anyhow and a woman must respect you, then you're getting it all wrong. That's not alpha male. You're not an alpha. An alpha male has to grow into becoming an alpha by learning the principles of life. Now, another important thing that we may need to understand about alpha male is that you're not automatically an alpha. Men are not automatically alphas. Not because you're a man, so you're an alpha. No. You have to grow into an alpha because, the way society has structured life, men grow into value. That is, men are not really prepared for their future lives. What do I mean? Now, from childhood, you see a girl child, her mother is talking to her, society is talking to her in the conversations and in everything. They're trying to make her understand that there's a particular kind of lifestyle she needs to live so that she will be acceptable for marriage and she will have a happy home. She will build a happy home. Like a little girl can maybe 3, 4 while even washing plate, maybe she breaks a plate and the mother will, is that how you're going to manage your family? And sometimes when elders or mothers are advising their daughters, they advise them in view of their marriage. But men, fathers don't advise sons that behave like this so that in your marriage time you'll be able to coordinate your marriage. No. Instead, it is when you misbehave. Most fathers will tell you, don't worry, when you have a family, you will understand. So men are like, they are not groomed. So most men have this idea that you can behave anyhow. Now, until adolescence and later years in life, men begin to understand life from a different perspective. And when that perspective, or when the realities of life begin to dawn on men, that's when men begin to grow into value. Unlike women, women were taught that most times from childhood, women are taught that you already have the value. Maybe your body, all you need is just to have a beautiful body. And a man will come and marry, most probably a rich man will come and marry you. Or women are groomed into believing that marrying a rich man is the prize. It's like winning in life when you marry a rich man. So they think that by their bodily beauty, a rich man will come and marry them. So you see that in younger age, or when boys are approaching adolescence, men or boys sleep with who they can, while the women sleep with who they want. So that means that as a man, you can approach a girl and she tells you no. Maybe she says, I don't like this guy. So she kicks you off. Now, but a man, you'll be struggling. Just, it's like you cast your net on so many girls. The ones that accept you, you sleep with them or you date them. But a woman has choice. Now, the downside of this is that sometimes women overdo this by they now become ill-mannered to those people, those men whom they think don't have value. And truthfully, yes, most of those guys don't have value as of then. But what they term value is not the real value, because what they term value is a man that has money. So they treat those with money like important VIPs and treat the other ones disrespectfully. But what they fail to realize is that most of those guys whom they treat as valued men do not see them as the same, because those men understand that why you're in my life is because of this money I have. So those men never want to take them serious till it gets to an age where they begin to fade. And as at that time when these women are fading, that's when these men are gaining value. Now the same woman who devalued this man has been abandoned by the man she valued. So most times they want to come back to those men that they devalued in the past. And life doesn't work like that because the man has moved on. So this is a challenge for society today. The man has moved on. He goes for a woman that values him. And he builds a good life. So we as men will have this responsibility to rebuild society. Rebuild society so that the divide between men and women will be bridged, so that life will become better, so that the future generation will have something to hold on to in building herself. Posterity, because posterity truthfully looks up to us. The way we behave today will determine how posterity will look like. Already, by my own analysis, society today is in great shambles because people have been mistaught, misled, and I don't know. We're really in a hot soup now. Because I try to wonder, with the way Gen Z is behaving, I try to wonder what life will be like in the next 40 years. When Gen Z will now have children, I wonder what they will bring those children up to become. So, as an alpha, you have a responsibility not to dominate, but to build society. So, let us look at a new definition of alpha male as someone who creates peace, harmony, love, and understanding in society, who builds society, and who tries to merge the male and the female gender, because that's something we need today. In fact, I would say that's one of the greatest needs of our society today, to bridge the divide between men and women so that society can become a better place. Okay? So see it from this perspective and Don't dominate women because women are not to be dominated. If a woman is so rash, if a woman is so uncoordinated, or if a woman is so disobedient that she wants to behave anyhow, you walk away from her. Let her be. Let her live her life in the chaotic way she wants. When sense is done on her, she will understand. But your primary responsibility is to build society as an alpha male. That is, if you are an alpha male, or if you've grown to become an alpha male. So I believe with these few ideas or these few analysis, you have a clearer picture of what it means to be an alpha male and the responsibility before you. Now, this responsibility, you can practice it starting from now in your interaction with everybody, not just women, in your interaction with men. There's a video I have on qualities of an alpha male. I'll still go into that. We elaborate more on that so we understand how to become alpha males. Thank you so much for listening.